What if the stranger you asked to sit with was never a student at all, but a soldier sent from a world your mother died trying to hide from you? Lily Reed only wanted one quiet table in a crowded Baltimore library. Her coat was damp from the rain. Her nursing textbook was heavy in her arms, and grief still followed her like a shadow after her mother's death. Across the room sat Logan Pierce, silent, sharp-eyed, and too dangerous for a campus full of ordinary people. When Lily whispered, "Can I sit with you?" she had no idea that one sentence would pull her into a war between crime families, expose the truth about her bloodline, and force her to choose between innocence and power. Stay until the end, because some secrets don't just change a life. They crown a queen. Like the video and comment where you're watching from. 3 weeks earlier, before the cathedral filled with gun smoke and shattered glass, Lily Reed believed the most dangerous thing waiting for her was an exam she had not slept enough to pass. Baltimore wore the rain like an old coat that evening. It clung to the brick buildings, slid down the windows of passing buses, and gathered in black puddles along the curbs outside Johns Hopkins. The campus lights glowed pale through the mist, soft around the edges like the whole city had been smudged by a wet thumb. Lily crossed the quad with her nursing textbook hugged tight to her chest. The book was thick enough to bruise her ribs, and her canvas bag kept slipping off her shoulder because one of the straps had torn that morning. She had promised herself she would fix it with a needle and thread when she got home, the same way her mother used to fix everything that could not afford replacing. Her sneakers were soaked through. Her hair had come loose from its clip and stuck to her cheeks in damp brown strands. She had been awake since 5 in the morning, first for a clinical shift at Mercy General, then for 2 lectures, then for 4 hours at the free clinic where she checked blood pressure for men who smelled like cold concrete and women who apologized for needing help. Now she needed a table. That was all. One table, one chair. One little island of quiet where she could memorize the cardiovascular system before her brain gave up on her completely. The medical library was full. Of course it was. Every table was crowded with students hunched over laptops and coffee cups. Fluorescent lights hummed above them. Rain tapped the tall windows in impatient fingers. Someone coughed into a sleeve. Someone whispered a prayer over a stack of flashcards. The air smelled like wet wool, burnt coffee, and the tired panic of people pretending they were fine. Lily paused just inside the entrance and took in the room. No seats near the front, no seats by the reference desk, no seats beside the windows where the lamps were warm and the outlets actually worked. Her shoulders sagged. Perfect, she whispered to herself. Absolutely perfect. She shifted the textbook higher in her arms and walked deeper into the library, past shelves of anatomy atlases and pharmacology manuals, past students who looked too exhausted to blink. She was almost ready to give up and study on the floor when she saw him. A man sat alone at a table near the far windows. Not boy. Man. That was the first thing Lily noticed. He could have been a graduate student, maybe older, maybe just worn down in a way. College kids usually were not. He wore a dark wool coat over a plain black shirt, and his posture was too still. Not relaxed. Not stiff either. Controlled. Like he was saving every movement for when it mattered. A laptop sat open in front of him, but he was not looking at it. His eyes moved across the room in slow passes. The entrance. The stairwell. The emergency exit. The reflections in the glass. Lily hesitated. There was an empty chair across from him. Nobody else seemed willing to take it. That alone should have told her something. But her feet hurt. Her head ached. Her bank account had $14.63 in it, and if she failed her midterm, she would have to explain to herself why she had sacrificed sleep, food, and dignity for nothing. So she walked over. The man looked up before she reached the table. His eyes were gray. Not soft gray, not gentle gray. Storm gray. Harbor water under a winter sky. Lily swallowed. "Can I sit with you?" she asked. Her voice came out quieter than she meant it to. The man studied her for 1 second too long. His gaze moved over the textbook, the broken bag strap, the cheap sweater, the rain in her hair. He did not smile. Then he nodded once. "Seat's yours." His voice was low, rough around the edges, like it had been dragged over gravel and never polished smooth again. Lily lowered herself into the chair with a sigh she tried to hide. "Thank you. Everywhere else is a war zone." "Midterms," he said. "Right. Academic violence, very underrated cause of death." That earned her the smallest movement at the corner of his mouth. Not quite a smile, but close enough to feel like a victory. She opened her textbook and started unloading her things. Highlighters, pens, a dented water bottle, a granola bar she had been saving since lunch and no longer trusted. Her mother's old watch, because the band had broken and Lily kept meaning to get it fixed, but still carried it with her anyway. The man looked at the watch for half a second. Lily noticed. "It was my mom's," she said, before she could stop herself. He lifted his eyes to hers. Something shifted in his expression. Not pity. She hated pity. This was quieter. She gone. Lily nodded and looked down at the page in front of her. 8 months. The number still felt strange in her mouth. Too small for how long grief felt. Too large for how recently she could still hear her mother singing in the kitchen while washing dishes. "I'm sorry," he said. Most people said those words like a door closing. He said them like he meant to stand there with her for a moment if she allowed it. Lily tapped her pen against the textbook. "Thanks." She was a nurse. ER, Maggie Reed. She could start an IV in a moving ambulance and still yell at me for not eating breakfast. This time the man did smile faintly. "Sounds formidable." She was. 5'4" and terrifying. Men twice her size called her ma'am. The rain thickened against the windows. For a moment, Lily let herself feel the shape of her mother in the empty chair of her life. The smell of lavender soap. The firm hand at the back of her head during a fever. The tired smile after a night shift. The way Maggie Reed always checked the locks twice, then checked on Lily 3 times. Lily cleared her throat and reached for a yellow highlighter. "I'm Lily, by the way. Logan. Just Logan Pierce. That sounds like a name from a crime show." His eyes flicked to the window. "Bad writing, probably." Lily laughed under her breath. It surprised her. Laughing still felt like finding a light on in a house she thought was empty. Logan did not laugh with her, but the table felt less cold. She bent over her textbook and tried to focus on cardiac output. She made it through 2 paragraphs before realizing Logan had not typed a single word. He kept watching the room, his gaze landing on reflections instead of faces. "You know, Lily said most people look at their screens when they bring a laptop." "I'm reading. Your screen is black." He glanced down. The laptop had gone to sleep. Lily pressed her lips together to keep from smiling too hard. Logan touched a key. The screen lit up, showing a document with 3 lines on it and nothing else. "Very intense reading," Lily said. "Complicated subject." "What subject?" "Urban policy." "You don't look like an urban policy major." "What do I look like?" That question was too easy and too dangerous. Lily pretended to study him clinically like he was a patient and she was assessing symptoms. "Former military." "Maybe." "Bad sleeper." "Definitely." "Drinks coffee black and judges people who use flavored creamer. Has at least 1 scar with a story he won't tell unless someone earns it." Logan's face did not change, but his eyes sharpened. "Pretty specific. I'm in nursing. We observe." "Then I should be careful." "You should be careful anyway. You sit with your back to a wall and watch exits like someone's coming for you." This time he looked directly at her. For a breath, the library noise faded. Then he said, "Maybe I just like knowing how to leave." Lily's fingers stilled around her pen. It was not a joke. Not really. She understood that more than she wanted to. Since her mother died, every room had felt like a place she might have to escape from. Not physically, emotionally. A grocery aisle where Maggie's favorite tea waited on the shelf. A clinic hallway where someone laughed like her. A voicemail screen where Lily's thumb hovered aching to press play. Knowing how to leave was not the same as wanting to go, Fair Lily said softly. Logan looked away first. Across the room near the reference section, two men stood too still among the shelves. Logan saw them in the glass before he turned his head. The first man was broad through the shoulders with a gray beard trimmed close and eyes like old iron. He held a newspaper upside down. The second man leaned near a cart of returned books, hands folded in front of him, coat open just enough to make it clear he could reach inside quickly. Logan's right hand dropped beneath the table. Lily did not notice. She was drawing a shaky diagram of the heart, muttering to herself about ventricles. The gray-bearded man shifted. Logan knew him. Malcolm Price, Raymond Whitaker's old hound, the kind of man people lowered their voices around. Logan had seen him once outside a courthouse, standing beside a black Escalade while a witness changed his testimony before ever entering the building. Malcolm Price did not appear anywhere by accident. Logan's hand found the pistol under his coat. His pulse did not speed up. That was the part of himself he disliked most. Danger made him still. He looked again at Malcolm, then at the second man. Their attention was not on him. It was on Lily. Lily, who had a purple pen tucked behind one ear. Lily, who was quietly arguing with a textbook diagram. Lily, who had no idea two professional killers were measuring the distance between her chair and the exit. Logan moved his hand away from the gun. Slowly. "Are you from Baltimore?" he asked. Lily glanced up. Born and raised. Well, mostly raised by hospital cafeterias and night shift babysitters. "Your father around?" The question came out casual. Too casual. Lily did not seem to notice. "No. He died before I was born. How car accident? That's what Mom said." She highlighted a sentence, then went over it again because the ink was too pale. "Somewhere outside Annapolis, I think." She hated talking about him, not in an angry way, more like the subject had a locked door on it. Logan watched Malcolm in the glass. A locked door. "My mother had a few." Lily's voice went lighter, which told him the subject was heavy. She never kept pictures of him, never mentioned his family, never told me his first name, actually, just said he was charming, reckless, and gone, which sounds less like a father and more like a weather event. Logan said nothing. A rumor moved through his memory like a snake in dark water. 21 years ago, Raymond Whitaker was shot 3 times outside a hospital near downtown. His driver died. 2 men from the Kane crew disappeared that same night and were found days later in the Patapsco River. The official story blamed a robbery. No one believed it. The underground story was different. A young ER nurse had kept Whitaker alive with her hands inside his blood. Maggie Reed. After that, Whitaker changed. For a little while, anyway. He stopped visiting clubs. Stopped taking meetings with women on his arm. Sent flowers to a hospital under no name. Then the nurse vanished from every place his enemies could find her. Years later, men whispered about a child. A daughter hidden behind sealed records and quiet money. A ghost with Whitaker blood. Logan looked at Lily again. She was biting the cap of her pen, staring at a diagram of the heart, as if the answer to her life was somewhere in the arteries. A strange feeling moved through him. Not fear. Not exactly. Recognition. Not of her face, but of the trap around her. "Why are you looking at me like that?" Lily asked. Logan blinked once. "Like what?" "Like I'm a math problem and you hate math. I don't hate math. Nobody likes math that much." He leaned back slightly. "You always talk this much when you study. I talk more when I'm nervous." "You nervous?" She looked around the crowded library, then at her textbook, then at him. A little. Because of me? She considered lying, then shrugged. At first. You have strong don't-sit-here energy, and yet my cardiovascular exam doesn't care about your brooding. That almost made him smile again. Lily saw it and felt a small, foolish warmth in her chest. Not romance. Not yet. Just the relief of reaching a person who seemed built to be unreachable. The library lights flickered once as thunder rolled over the city. Several students looked up. Lily did too. Logan did not. His eyes went to Malcolm Price. The man with the newspaper adjusted his stance and spoke quietly into his sleeve. Lily's phone buzzed on the table. She glanced at it and sighed. Landlord. Logan watched her face as she read. Her shoulders folded inward just slightly. Problem no. Yes. Kind of. Heat's out in my building again, and apparently that's somehow my fault. You live alone. She gave him a look. That sounded like either concern or a murder questionnaire. Concern. Then yes. Alone. My mom and I had a place in Highlandtown. After she died, I moved into a cheaper studio because hospitals do not pay nursing students in anything except trauma and cafeteria soup. You have family? Nope. Just me. Lily shut off her phone and set it face down, which sounds sadder out loud than it does in my head. It sounds honest. She looked at him. Again, there it was. That strange way he said simple things like, they cost him something. What about you? She asked. No family worth mentioning. That's not the same as no family. No, you always answer questions like you're being cross-examined. Depends who's asking. I'm asking? Then maybe. The words should have annoyed her. Instead, they settled between them like the beginning of a game neither had agreed to play. Lily opened her granola bar. It broke in half and spilled crumbs onto her notes. Great, she muttered. Dinner and confetti. Logan looked at the broken bar. That dinner. Don't judge me. It has oats. That makes it basically medicine. He reached into the inside pocket of his coat and took out a wrapped sandwich from the campus cafe. Turkey still warm. He placed it on her side of the table. Lily stared at it. No. You haven't eaten. You don't know that. You called a granola bar dinner. That was a private medical opinion. Take it. I can pay you back. I didn't ask. She should have refused. Pride rose first sharp and familiar. But hunger was sharper. So was exhaustion. So was the memory of her mother saying, Lily, when someone hands you kindness, don't slap it away just because life taught you to duck. Lily took the sandwich. Thank you. Logan gave a small nod and looked back toward the room. She unwrapped it slowly. Are you this generous with all strange women who invade your table? No lucky me then. He did not answer. For the next 20 minutes, Lily studied. Logan pretended to. The rain kept falling. The library emptied by inches as the hour grew late. Every so often, Lily felt his gaze on her notes. You know anything about cardiac meds? She asked. No. Good. Neither do I. You're going to be a nurse. That's the plan. Why? The question came without judgment. That made it harder. Lily looked down at her mother's watch. My mom used to say that when the world breaks, somebody has to learn how to hold the pieces together until they can breathe again. She smiled faintly. Also, I'm good under pressure. Logan's eyes moved to Malcolm Price again. I believe that. You don't even know me. No, he said. I don't. But he was beginning to understand the shape of her. Kind without being soft. Tired without being defeated. Alone without begging the world to notice. In Logan's world, innocence was usually ignorance. Lily's was different. Hers had been bruised, billed, underfed, and still somehow standing. It bothered him. It pulled at something he had buried after Fallujah, after the Marines, after the nights when he came home and found out quiet rooms could be louder than gunfire. A chair scraped nearby. Malcolm Price folded his newspaper and started toward the exit. The second man remained near the shelves. Logan watched Malcolm leave, then caught his reflection outside beneath the library awning. He stood in the rain without opening an umbrella, waiting. Not for Logan, for Lily. Logan closed his laptop. Lily looked up. Leaving soon. Oh. She hated that she sounded disappointed. He noticed that too. The library announced closing time over the speakers, the voice tinny and bored. Students began gathering laptops and stuffing papers into bags. Lily checked the time and groaned. I missed the campus shuttle. You walking bus stop is 4 blocks. In this rain, I'm not made of sugar. Baltimore rain isn't water, it's punishment. That's the most local thing you've said all night. Logan stood. I'll walk you. Lily froze with her textbook halfway inside her bag. You don't have to do that. I know. That wasn't a yes. It wasn't a question. She studied him, unsure whether to be annoyed or grateful. You always this bossy? Yes. At least you're self-aware. They walked out together. The rain had softened to a steady mist, but the city was still slick and dark. Streetlights reflected in the pavement. A siren wailed somewhere far off, then faded. The smell of wet brick and diesel moved through the air. Lily kept both hands around the strap of her bag. Logan walked on the street side of the sidewalk without making a point of it. She noticed anyway. So urban policy, she said. What about it? Is that real, or are you secretly studying how to become Batman? Batman had money. True. You have suspicious posture. Not as useful. They passed a closed coffee shop. Chairs were stacked upside down on tables inside. Lily caught her reflection in the window and barely recognized herself. Damp hair, pale face, too much life in the eyes and not enough rest beneath them. Behind their reflection across the street, a black SUV rolled slowly along the curb. Lily turned her head. The SUV kept going. Her stomach tightened. Logan saw it. You okay? I've seen that car before. Went outside the clinic. Maybe outside my apartment too. She laughed once, but there was no humor in it. Listen to me. I sound insane. You don't. That made her look at him. You didn't even ask if I was sure. Are you? She thought of the same tinted windows, the same slow movement, the same feeling of being noticed by something that did not want to be seen. Yes. Logan's jaw tightened. Then trust your gut. That's also not comforting. Comfort lies. Instinct doesn't. They reached the bus stop. The shelter roof leaked in one corner. An old advertisement for a hospital network peeled behind the glass. Lily stepped beneath it and checked the schedule. 15 minutes. I'll wait. Logan. He looked at her. The rain gathered on his eyelashes and the shoulders of his coat. Under the streetlight, his face looked carved out of shadow and restraint. I'm not your responsibility, she said. I didn't say you were. Then why are you still here? For once, he had no clean answer. Because Whitaker's men were watching you. Because Kane's people would kill to know what I know now. Because you asked to sit with me. And somehow that made a line I don't want to cross back over. Because when you talked about your mother, I remembered what it was like to be human. He said none of that. Instead, he looked down the street. Because it's raining. Lily let out a quiet laugh. That is the worst excuse I've ever heard. Still true. The bus arrived with a hiss of brakes. Warm yellow light spilled across the sidewalk. Lily climbed the first step, then turned back. Same table tomorrow. The question surprised both of them. Logan's eyes held hers. Maybe. That's not an answer. It's the only one I can give you. The bus doors closed between them. Lily found a seat by the window. As the bus pulled away, she looked back. Logan stood beneath the broken shelter roof, hands in his coat pockets, watching the street instead of the bus. And across the road, half hidden beneath the awning of a closed pharmacy, Malcolm Price watched Logan. The city moved around them, wet and restless. By the time Lily reached her apartment in Highland Town, the rain had turned colder. Her building was an old brick walk-up with a front door that stuck in winter and a hallway that smelled like radiator dust and someone's burnt dinner. She climbed 3 flights because the elevator had not worked since October. Her studio was small, but it was hers. A narrow bed beneath the window, a tiny kitchen with a chipped blue mug beside the sink, a folding table covered in textbooks, a shoebox full of bills she opened only when courage and caffeine met at the right hour. She locked the door behind her. Once. Then again. Her mother's habit. Lily stood there for a moment, fingers on the deadbolt. She could almost hear Maggie's voice. Again, baby. Locks are like promises. They only work if you check them. Lily checked it a 3rd time. Then she set her bag down and turned on the lamp beside the bed. The bulb flickered, then steadied. Her phone buzzed with an automated reminder about a loan payment. She ignored it. On the folding table beside a stack of index cards sat a framed photograph of Maggie Reed in blue scrubs. She was smiling at the camera with one hand on her hip and a pen tucked into her hair. Her eyes were bright, stubborn, alive. Lily picked up the frame. "I met someone weird," she said quietly. The room gave nothing back. "He gave me a sandwich. That's not a personality I know, but it's better than most dates." She smiled, then felt foolish, then felt sad because grief always punished joy for arriving uninvited. Her gaze drifted to the window. A black SUV sat across the street. Engine off. Lights dark. Lily stopped breathing. She moved closer to the glass but stayed behind the curtain. The vehicle was parked beneath a sycamore tree, rain sliding over its windshield. She could not see inside. Maybe it was not the same one. Maybe Baltimore was full of black SUVs. Maybe she was tired and lonely and turning coincidence into conspiracy because her mother was not there to tell her she was safe. The SUV's brake lights glowed red. Then it pulled away from the curb and disappeared around the corner. Lily stood in the dim room long after it was gone. At midnight, Logan Pierce sat in his parked car 2 blocks from Lily's apartment, watching the empty street through a windshield blurred with rain. He had followed the SUV after it left her building. It had circled twice, then stopped near a church parking lot before heading west. Whitaker's men were not subtle because they did not need to be. In Baltimore, power did not hide. It simply trusted fear to keep people from naming it. Logan's phone vibrated. The screen showed a number with no name. He answered. "Yeah." A man's voice came through, smooth and amused. "You enjoying college life?" "Pierce?" Logan closed his eyes for half a second. "Travis Kane. Classes are fine. I didn't ask about classes." Logan watched rain crawl down the windshield. "No, I heard you made a friend." Silence settled inside the car. Logan said, "People talk. People breathe, too. Both can be corrected." Travis laughed softly at his own joke. Logan did not. "Come by the freezer tomorrow night," Travis said. "We need to discuss your new study partner." The line went dead. Logan lowered the phone. For a long moment he did not move. Down the street, Lily's apartment window glowed on the 3rd floor, a small square of warm light in a cold city. Logan had spent years training himself not to want things that could be taken. Peace, sleep, forgiveness, a future. Now there was a girl in a tiny apartment with a broken bag strap, and her mother's watch and men with guns were already arranging themselves around her life. He started the engine. The car rolled away from the curb without headlights for the first few seconds, then merged into the wet Baltimore night. Inside her apartment, Lily tried to study, but the words on the page would not stay still. She kept thinking of the black SUV, then of Logan, then of the way he had gone silent when she mentioned her father. She opened her notebook and wrote one sentence in the margin without meaning to. "Who are you?" She stared at the words until the ink blurred. Outside, the rain kept falling. Somewhere beneath the city's ordinary sounds, old secrets began to wake. Old secrets began to wake, but Lily Reed still had an exam at 8 in the morning. That was the cruel thing about grief, debt, and danger. None of them cared about each other. The world could be shifting beneath her feet. Black SUVs could be circling her block. Strange men could be watching her from library corners, and still her alarm rang before sunrise. Still her rent was due. Still her professor expected her to know the difference between atrial fibrillation and ventricular tachycardia. So Lily did what she had always done. She got up. The next morning, Baltimore was gray and wet, the kind of morning where the sky seemed too tired to lift itself. Lily stood in her tiny kitchen drinking instant coffee that tasted like burnt pennies, while her textbook lay open beside the toaster. Her mother's watch sat next to it, still broken, still ticking whenever Lily shook it hard enough. She had barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the black SUV outside her apartment. Then she saw Logan under the bus stop lights rain on his shoulders, answering questions without answering them. "Who are you?" The sentence she had written in her notebook stared back at her from the margin when she opened it again on the bus. By 8 o'clock, she was seated in the lecture hall with one knee bouncing under the desk. Around her, students flipped through notes and whispered last-minute facts. Lily forced herself to breathe the way she taught nervous patients to breathe. In through the nose. Hold. Out through the mouth. Her phone vibrated. A message from an unknown number appeared on the screen. Coffee after Lily stared at it. Another message followed. "It's Logan." A third came seconds later. "You left your purple pen." Lily looked down at her pencil case. Her purple pen was missing. She hated the little smile that touched her mouth. After the exam, which was either a triumph or a crime scene depending on how merciful the grading curve felt, Lily found Logan standing outside the medical building beneath a bare sycamore tree. He held 2 coffees. No umbrella, no expression that gave away whether he was nervous, relieved, or had simply appeared out of the fog like a warning sign. Lily walked toward him with her arms folded. "How did you get my number?" "You wrote it on your clinic badge. That badge was inside my bag. It was clipped to the outside pocket. That does not make this less suspicious." He handed her a coffee. She looked at the cup, then at him. "I should probably be more concerned." "Probably. Is this poisoned? No." That's exactly what someone with poisoned coffee would say. Logan took a slow sip from his own cup. Lily accepted hers. It was not the cheapest coffee from campus. It was from the place near the hospital that used real cream and charged like they were importing the beans from heaven. She took a sip and closed her eyes for half a second. "Oh, that's unfair. What is buying forgiveness coffee before I've decided what you did wrong?" Logan looked toward the street. "You decide yet?" "No." Lily wrapped both hands around the cup. "But I'm working on it." They walked without planning to. First across campus, then down a sidewalk lined with wet leaves, then toward a small courtyard between old brick buildings where students smoked and pretended their futures were not eating them alive. Logan stayed beside her close enough to feel present, far enough not to crowd. Lily noticed that about him. He carried himself like a man trained to be dangerous, but he watched her boundaries carefully. That made him harder to distrust, which made her want to distrust him more. "You said you were in the Marines," she said. "I said once. That is not the same thing." "No." She gave him a sideways look. "You do know conversations are supposed to involve sharing information. I've heard that. Were you deployed?" His eyes stayed on the path ahead. "Yes." where Fallujah. The word changed the air between them. Lily had heard it before in news stories, documentaries, history segments that made war feel far away and contained. Coming from Logan's mouth, it sounded like a place still breathing inside him. She softened. How long? Long enough. Lily did not push. Her mother had taught her that some wounds closed wrong if you touched them too early. Instead, she said, "My mom used to treat veterans in the ER." She said the quiet ones scared her the most. Smart woman. She was. They reached the courtyard. Rainwater dripped from the branches above them. A student laughed too loudly near the steps. Somewhere, a delivery truck backed up with a mechanical beep. Logan flinched. It was quick. Almost nothing. But Lily saw it. He looked at her immediately as if waiting for the question. She did not ask. She only took another sip of coffee and said, "You hungry?" That was how it began. Not with flowers, not with promises, not with the kind of romance Lily had watched in movies when she was younger and less suspicious of happiness. It began with coffee after exams, with shared tables in crowded libraries, with Logan appearing at the edge of her long days like a shadow that had decided to become shelter. He never said much, but he remembered everything. He remembered that Lily hated cinnamon in coffee but loved it in oatmeal. He remembered that she studied better near windows. He remembered that she always checked her phone when ambulances passed, even though her mother was no longer working any shift anywhere. One night when the heat in Lily's building failed again, she arrived at the library wearing 2 sweaters and fingerless gloves. Logan looked at her hands disappeared for 10 minutes and came back with a pair of plain black gloves from a pharmacy bag. "You cannot keep buying me things," she said. "They were $6. That is not the point." "What is?" "The point is I have pride. Put the gloves on with pride." She tried not to laugh and failed. Moments like that were dangerous because they felt ordinary. Ordinary was what Lily missed most. Her mother making soup while music played from an old radio, folding laundry warm from the dryer, arguing about whether cereal counted as dinner. Ordinary had been stolen from her one hospital bill, one funeral arrangement, one silent apartment at a time. Logan made ordinary feel possible again, even though nothing about him was ordinary. He knew where to stand in a room so he could see every entrance. He never sat with his back exposed. He noticed cars that passed twice. When a drunk man stumbled too close to Lily outside a diner, Logan did not raise his voice. He only stepped between them, and the man suddenly remembered somewhere else he needed to be. Lily began to notice other things, too. The black SUV still appeared near her building. Sometimes there was a gray, bearded man in a dark coat across from the clinic. Once, while leaving a late shift, she saw a different man leaning against a street lamp, pretending to scroll through his phone while watching the hospital doors through the reflection of a parked car. She told Logan on a Thursday night while they sat at a harbor diner with cracked red booths and coffee that tasted better than it had any right to. "There's another one," she said. Logan stirred his coffee, though he drank it black. "Another what man watching me?" He did not look surprised. That was the problem. Lily set down her fork. "You know something." He looked up. The diner lights turned his eyes almost silver. "I know Baltimore has bad men. I'm serious. So am I." "Logan." Her voice cracked slightly on his name. She hated that. She hated needing answers from someone who looked like he had spent his life burying them. He leaned forward, lowering his voice. "Have any of them approached you?" "No." "Touched you?" "No." "Spoken to you?" "No." "But that does not make it normal." "It isn't." "Then tell me what it is." Outside headlights moved over the wet glass. Logan's gaze followed them. His jaw flexed once. "I can't." The words hit colder than she expected. Lily sat back. "You can't or you won't." Both. Do you know them? A long pause. Not personally. That is a very careful answer. I'm trying to keep you safe. She laughed once, sharp and hurt. From what? Because right now, the scariest thing in my life is not the men in black cars. It is the fact that you keep acting like my life is a locked room and you already have the key. For the first time, Logan looked shaken. Not much. Just enough. I don't have the key, he said quietly. I'm trying to find the door before someone breaks it down. Lily wanted to stay angry. She did stay angry. But beneath it, fear moved. What does that mean? Logan's phone buzzed before he could answer. He checked the screen. Something in him closed. I have to go. Of course you do. Lily. No. Go be mysterious. I have flashcards. They are emotionally available. He stood, but he did not leave right away. I'll walk you home. I can walk myself. I know. Then stop saying things like that. He looked at her for a long moment. Then he placed cash on the table for both their meals. Stay inside tonight. Lily's anger drained into something quieter and worse. Why Logan did not answer. He left the diner with his coat collar turned up against the rain. Lily watched him through the window until he disappeared into the dark. An hour later, Logan drove through South Baltimore toward the cold storage warehouse Travis Kane called the Freezer. The building sat near the shipping yard, surrounded by chain-link fencing and security lights that buzzed like trapped insects. Trucks came in during the day, carrying seafood meat and imported goods. At night, the place belonged to Kane's men. Logan parked beside a row of black vehicles and went in through the side door. Cold air struck his face first. Then the smell. Raw meat, bleached diesel, old cigar smoke. The kind of smell that stayed in clothes no matter how long you washed them. Two men searched him at the entrance. They took his pistol but missed the small blade hidden inside his boot. Not because Logan was lucky, because they were lazy. Travis Kane waited in the upstairs office with his feet on a metal desk. He was younger than most men who controlled that much blood, early 40s, handsome in a hard, polished way. His suit was dark blue, his shoes Italian, his smile empty. Detective Wade Ellis sat in the corner drinking from a paper cup. Logan noticed him first. A cop in a place like this meant something had either been bought or buried. Sometimes both. Travis spread his arms. There he is, college boy. Logan stopped near the desk. You wanted to talk. I wanted to admire your initiative. Travis tapped ash into a glass tray. Johns Hopkins. Library tables. Pretty nursing students. You have layers, Pierce. Logan said nothing. Travis liked silence only when he owned it. When someone else held it, he got mean. He leaned forward and opened a folder. Inside were photographs. Lily outside the library. Lily leaving the clinic. Lily buying groceries. Lily sitting across from Logan in the diner. Her face turned toward him in anger, hurt trust all of it captured through dirty glass. Logan felt something hot and violent move through his chest. He kept his face still. You're having me followed, I'm having her followed. Travis smiled. You just keep getting in the frame. Detective Ellis cleared his throat. The hospital archive took some digging. Birth record was sealed under a judge's order. Mother was Margaret Reed. Father listed as unknown. Travis lifted one finger. Unknown on paper. Ellis slid another document forward. Not unknown to people with money. Logan looked down. A copy of an old medical file. Blood type. Admission record. A name that appeared in the notes before someone had tried to erase it. Raymond Whitaker. The room seemed to contract. Travis watched Logan closely. There it is, he said. You already knew. I suspected. And you didn't tell me. I didn't know. But you suspected. Logan met his eyes. Rumors get men killed in this city. Travis laughed softly. Facts, too. He stood and walked to the window overlooking the warehouse floor. Below, men moved crates between pools of cold white light. Raymond Whitaker has spent 21 years hiding a daughter from the world. Think about that kind of weakness. Think about what a man like him would pay to keep that weakness breathing. She isn't part of this. No, Travis said. That is exactly why she is perfect. Logan's hands curled once, then relaxed. Travis turned back. The harbor routes are shifting. Whitaker has judges leaning on union contracts, councilmen smiling for cameras, customs men pretending not to see his trucks. He is squeezing us out inch by inch. But a daughter changes the conversation. Ellis would not look at Logan now. Travis walked closer. You are going to keep spending time with her. No. The word left Logan before caution could stop it. The room chilled beyond the freezer air. Travis's smile faded. No, Logan measured the distance to the door. 2 guards outside, 1 behind him. Ellis armed on the left. Travis probably had a pistol beneath the desk. I said she is not involved. Travis moved fast. Not with a gun, with his hand. He struck Logan across the face with the heavy ring on his finger. Pain cracked through Logan's cheek. Blood filled his mouth. Logan did not move. Travis stepped close enough for Logan to smell cigar smoke and mint. You do not decide who is involved. You do not decide who matters. You were a drunk ex-Marine sleeping in your car when I found you. I gave you work. I gave you protection. I gave that violence inside you a leash. Logan spat blood onto the floor. You gave it a collar. Travis smiled again. There he is. He returned to the desk and picked up a photograph of Lily. She trusts you. That is rare. That is useful. You get close, you learn her routine, and when I call you, bring her somewhere quiet. Logan stared at the photograph, Lily laughing at something in the diner before the argument. Her head tilted, her eyes bright for once. Travis placed the photo against Logan's chest. You do this, and you stop being a stray dog. You become family. And if I don't? Travis's voice softened. Then I send men who won't care how much she screams. There it was. The choice with no clean side. Logan left the freezer with blood drying at the corner of his mouth and a storm building behind his ribs. He drove without knowing where he meant to go. The city blurred around him in strips of red brake lights and wet asphalt. His cheek throbbed. His phone sat in the cup holder, dark and heavy as a loaded gun. He thought of driving out of Baltimore. He had cash hidden in a vent at his apartment, enough to cross 3 states if he kept to back roads and paid for gas and small bills. He could disappear before sunrise. Men like Logan knew how to vanish, but Lily did not. Lily would wake up tomorrow and go to class. She would carry her broken bag and her mother's watch. She would make jokes when she was scared. She would trust locked doors because her mother taught her to check them. And Travis Kane would come for her. At a red light near the harbor, Logan opened his phone. There was a message from Lily. I know you said stay inside, so naturally I am at the library. Before you get bossy, I'm fine. A second message arrived. Also, your purple pen theft has been forgiven. Temporarily. Logan stared at the screen. The light turned green. A horn blared behind him. He drove to the library. Lily was at their table surrounded by notes, pretending to be less worried than she was. When Logan appeared, she looked up sharply. Her expression changed when she saw his face. What happened? Nothing. She stood. That is blood. It's not mine. Logan. He looked around the library. Too many people. Too many windows. Malcolm Price near the west shelves watching. Another man near the front door, younger, unfamiliar, probably Kane. The walls felt too thin. Lily stepped closer. Who hit you? He wanted to lie. He had lied all his life in one form or another. To officers, to cops, to bosses, to himself. Lies were easy. They were rooms he knew how to move through in the dark. But Lily was looking at him like the truth mattered because he mattered. That was worse than interrogation. "I need you to listen to me," he said. Her anger faded into fear. "Okay, not here." She packed quickly. For once, she did not argue. They left through a side exit and walked into the rain. Logan kept his body close to hers as they crossed the street, blocking the view from the main road. Lily noticed. "Are those men here for me?" "Yes." The answer landed between them like a dropped blade. Lily stopped walking. Logan turned back. "You said yes." "I know. Why are men here for me?" He looked at her, and the pain in his face was not from the cut on his cheek. "Because your life is not what your mother told you." Lily's breath caught. The rain slid down her face, but she did not blink. "What does that mean?" Before Logan could answer, a black sedan slowed at the curb. Not Whitaker's SUV. Different car. Different threat. Logan took Lily's hand. "Move." They cut through an alley behind the library. Lily stumbled once on wet brick, and Logan caught her before she fell. The sedan rolled past the alley entrance without stopping. Lily pulled her hand free. "No. I am done being dragged through my own life like luggage. You need to get home. I need answers. I can't give them all to you. Then give me one." Logan looked down at her. She was soaked, shaking, furious, and afraid, but she did not look helpless, not even then. He chose the smallest truth he could survive saying. "The men in the black SUV are not trying to hurt you." Her eyes searched his. "Then why are they following me to protect you?" "From who?" Logan's phone buzzed. A message from Travis. "Tomorrow night. Inner Harbor. Bring her alone." Logan closed his hand around the phone until the screen cracked. Lily saw it. From who, she asked again. Logan looked past her toward the wet lights of the city, toward the harbor where Baltimore kept its deepest sins moving beneath cranes and cargo ships. Then he looked back at Lily. "From men like me." She went still. The truth was not complete, but it was enough to wound. They stood in the rain until a siren wailed somewhere beyond the campus, rising and falling like the city itself was warning them to run. Lily stepped back. "I don't know what you are." Logan's voice was almost a whisper. "Neither do I anymore." For a moment, neither of them moved. Then Lily turned and walked toward the bus stop without looking back. Logan let her go because Malcolm Price had appeared across the street, because Kane's sedan was circling, because every instinct he had screamed that the safest thing for Lily was distance. He lasted 11 seconds. Then he followed from half a block back, staying in the shadows, watching every car that slowed near her, every man who turned his head too long, every reflection in every rain-dark window. When Lily reached her building, she paused at the entrance and looked back. She saw him. Of course she did. For a second, the old anger returned to her face, then something else, something softer, more frightened. She went inside. Logan waited until the third-floor window lit up. Only then did he walk to his car. He sat behind the wheel as rain drummed over the roof. Travis wanted her tomorrow. Whitaker's men were watching. Lily was beginning to understand that her whole life had been built over a grave of secrets. Logan wiped blood from his lip with his thumb and started the engine. He had survived war by obeying orders. He had survived the streets by choosing the winning side. Tonight, for the first time in years, he chose neither. He drove toward the harbor, toward the men who owned him, toward the girl they thought he would betray. And somewhere ahead, beneath the rain and the city lights, Lily Reed's old life began to loosen its grip. Lily Reed's old life began to loosen its grip. But by morning she still woke inside the same small apartment under the same thin blanket with the same cracked ceiling above her bed. For one quiet second, she almost believed the night before had been a fever dream. Then she saw the note in her notebook. "Who are you?" The ink had dried darker than the rest, pressed deep into the paper by a hand that had been more frightened than she wanted to admit. Lily sat up slowly. Her apartment was cold. The radiator clicked and sighed without giving off much heat. Outside, Baltimore moved through another gray morning traffic, hissing along wet streets, gulls crying somewhere toward the harbor. She checked the window before she checked her phone. No black SUV. That should have helped. It did not. Her phone had one message from Logan. "Stay near campus today. Don't go home alone." No explanation, no apology, no answer. Lily stared at the screen until anger climbed up through the fear. She typed back, "Stop giving orders like you own the air around me." She almost sent it. Then she deleted every word. Instead, she placed the phone face down, got dressed, and went to class because fear did not pay tuition. All day, the city felt staged around her. The hallway outside the lecture room seemed too long. The clinic windows seemed too reflective. Every man in a dark coat became a question. Every car slowing near the curb made her pulse kick. By late afternoon, Lily's hands were shaking badly enough that she spilled antiseptic on the clinic counter. Her supervisor, Mrs. Alvarez, looked over. "You need food or sleep, honey." Both would be ambitious, Mrs. Alvarez studied her face with the sharp kindness of women who had survived enough to recognize panic even when it wore a smile. "Go home early. I need the hours. You need to stay standing." Lily wanted to argue, but the room tilted slightly when she turned. She took off her badge, thanked Mrs. Alvarez, and stepped out into the damp Baltimore evening. The sky had gone the color of bruised steel. Rain misted over the sidewalks, light enough to ignore, cold enough to punish. Lily stood under the clinic awning and looked both ways. No Logan. No black SUV. No gray, bearded man pretending not to watch her. For reasons she could not explain, that made the street feel less safe. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. For a second she thought it might be Logan from another burner. Then she answered. No one spoke. "Hello," only breathing. Then a man's voice said softly, "Miss Reed, you should go back inside." Lily's blood turned cold. "Who is this?" "Someone who promised your mother he would keep you alive." The line ended. Lily stared at the phone. Her mother. The word moved through her like a blade finding an old wound. She stepped backward toward the clinic doors, but before her hand reached the handle, a black sedan rolled past the curb. Slow. Too slow. The passenger window was tinted dark, but Lily felt eyes behind it. She turned and walked fast toward the corner. Not home. Not the bus stop. She did not know where she was going until her feet carried her toward the inner harbor, where there would be lights, people, restaurants, tourists, cameras. Public places were supposed to be safe. That was what everyone believed when they had not yet learned how easily violence could walk among crowds wearing a clean coat. The harbor was wet and shining when she arrived. Water slapped softly against the docks. Strings of white lights trembled in the rain. A few tourists moved beneath umbrellas. A vendor closed his cart near the promenade. Across the water-glass buildings reflected the last dim light of day. Lily stopped near a closed ticket booth and wrapped her arms around herself. Her phone buzzed again. "Logan, where are you?" She did not answer. Another message. "Lily, answer me." Then the phone rang. She let it ring twice before picking up. His voice came through low and tight. "Where are you? You do not get to know everything about me while telling me nothing about you. Lily, listen to me. No, you listen. A man just called me and said he promised my mother he would keep me alive. My dead mother, Logan. So if you know something, if you know anything, you need to say it now." Silence. Then his breathing changed. Are you outside? She turned slowly, scanning the promenade. Yes. Where? The harbor. Get inside somewhere with people. I am with people. No, you are not. She looked around again. The tourists had thinned. The vendor was gone. Rain thickened into silver lines beneath the lamps. The harbor that had felt public a minute ago now felt like a stage after the audience had left. Lily's throat tightened. Logan, tell me exactly where you are. Near the old ticket booth. By the water. Do not move. The line went dead. Lily stood frozen, phone in hand. A gull screamed overhead. Then she saw him. Logan came across the promenade at a fast walk, coat open, eyes moving everywhere at once. He looked like he had not slept. There was still a dark mark along his cheek where someone had struck him. When he reached her, he grabbed her shoulders, then softened his grip as if remembering she was not something he could command into safety. We need to leave, he said. Lily stared at him. Not until you tell me what is happening. Now. No. His eyes sharpened past her shoulder. That tiny shift frightened her more than his words. She turned. At the far end of the promenade, a black van rounded the curve with its headlights off. It moved too fast for the wet pavement. Logan pulled Lily behind him. Run! The van surged forward. Its side door slid open before it stopped. Lily saw masked faces, dark clothes, metal lifted in gloved hands. The first shots cracked through the rain. Not loud like movie thunder. Sharper, meaner. A ripping sound that made the air itself seem to split. The glass of the ticket booth exploded. Lily screamed as Logan threw his body into hers and drove them both behind a concrete planter. Her shoulder struck the ground hard. Pain flashed white through her arm. The phone flew from her hand and skidded across wet stone. Bullets chewed through the ticket booth where she had been standing. Logan's hand covered the back of her head. Stay down. She could not breathe. Her ears rang. Rainwater soaked through her jeans. Broken glass glittered around them like ice. She tasted metal and realized she had bitten her tongue. Across the promenade, a man stepped out from behind a row of closed kiosks. Gray beard, dark coat. The man from the library, the man from the clinic, the man from the phone. He moved with a kind of heavy calm that made the chaos bend around him. A revolver appeared in his hand. He raised it, fired once, and one of the masked men spun back against the van. Logan looked over the planter. Malcolm, he muttered. Lily grabbed his sleeve. You know him. Another burst of gunfire tore into the stone above them. Chips sprayed across Lily's hair. Logan pulled his pistol from beneath his coat and fired back with cold precision. His face changed as he moved. The guarded man from the library vanished. The wounded man from the diner vanished. In his place was something harder trained by deserts and doorways and streets where hesitation got people buried. Lily stared at him horrified. Who are you? He did not answer. He leaned out, fired twice, then pulled back as bullets sparked against the lamppost beside them. The van had crashed into a low railing. 2 men were using it as cover. A third moved along the side, trying to flank Malcolm. Logan saw him. He rose just enough to aim. 2 shots. The man dropped hard onto the wet pavement. Lily flinched and pressed both hands over her mouth. This was not a nightmare. Nightmares had edges. This had rain and blood and the smell of burned powder mixing with harbor water. Malcolm fired again, then staggered. His shoulder snapped back. He hit the side of a concrete planter and slid down one hand, clamped near his collarbone. Blood spread through his coat dark and fast. Logan cursed. He's hit. Lily shook her head, still pinned to the ground by terror. Who is he? He is the reason you are not dead. I don't know him. He knows you. A bullet struck the planter and Lily screamed again. Logan grabbed her face between both hands, forcing her eyes to his. Lily, listen to me. You are a nurse. I am a student. You are enough. He is bleeding out. I need you to get to him. I can't. Yes, you can. No, Logan, I can't move. His eyes held hers, fierce and desperate. He worked for your mother's secret. He works for your father. The words did not make sense. My father is dead. Logan's face tightened. No, he is not. The world narrowed to the space between them. Rain slid down his cheek. Gunfire cracked behind him. Lily's heart pounded so hard it felt like something trying to escape her ribs. What did you say? Move now and I will tell you everything. He turned before she could answer, rising from cover and firing toward the van. The sound tore through Lily's paralysis. She crawled. Her palms hit glass. Pain sliced through her skin. She kept moving. Rainwater and blood smeared beneath her hands. Malcolm saw her coming and tried to push himself upright. Stay back, he rasped. Shut up, Lily snapped, because fear had burned through and left only training. Let me see. His eyes widened as if her voice had pulled him back from somewhere dark. Miss Reed. She tore off her scarf and pressed it hard against the wound near his shoulder. He groaned. Pressure, she said more to herself than him. I need pressure. Keep breathing. Do not close your eyes. Your mother had that tone. Lily's hands froze for half a second. Then she pressed harder. You do not get to say that unless you explain it. Malcolm looked at her through pain and rain. I knew Maggie Reed. The name nearly broke her. A bullet struck the planter. Malcolm pulled her down with his good arm before she could react. Logan shouted from across the pavement. They are falling back! The surviving attackers scrambled toward a second car that had appeared near the access road. Sirens wailed in the distance. Police, maybe. Or someone paid to arrive too late. Logan ran to Lily and Malcolm. Can you walk? Malcolm's mouth twisted. I have been shot, not insulted. Then move. Logan grabbed Malcolm under one arm. Lily kept the scarf pressed against the wound as they half-carried him toward a black armored SUV parked beside the curb. Whose car is this? Lily gasped. His Logan said. My keys, Malcolm muttered. Logan reached into Malcolm's coat, found them, and opened the doors. They shoved Malcolm into the back seat. Lily climbed in after him, kneeling awkwardly beside him, keeping pressure on the wound. Logan slid behind the wheel. The SUV roared alive. As the first police lights flashed blue at the far end of the promenade, Logan reversed hard, spun the vehicle, and shot down a service road beneath the harbor complex. Lily braced one hand against the seat. Slow down. No. Logan, keep pressure on him. I am. Harder. Malcolm groaned. She is doing fine. You are bleeding through the scarf. Then I am doing less fine. Lily looked down. Her hands were slick red. Her mother's old watch had fallen from her pocket at some point and now lay beside Malcolm's leg, its cracked face smeared with blood. Something inside her went quiet. Very quiet. The SUV plunged into an underground road lit by yellow lamps. Water streaked across the windshield. The city above them became distant, muffled, unreal. Lily looked from Malcolm to Logan's reflection in the rearview mirror. Tell me. No one answered. Her voice rose. Tell me now. Malcolm closed his eyes. Raymond Whitaker. The name sat in the air heavy and impossible. Lily frowned. What your father, Malcolm said. Raymond Whitaker. Logan's hands tightened on the steering wheel. Lily gave a short laugh that sounded nothing like laughter. No. Malcolm's face had gone pale, but his voice stayed steady. Your mother saved his life 21 years ago at Mercy General. He loved her. She left him before you were born, no. She made him swear you would never be part of his world. No. Lily pressed the scarf harder because if she stopped doing the task, she would have to feel the truth. Raymond Whitaker was not just a name in Baltimore. He was a shadow people joked about without laughing. A man tied to unions judges vanished. Witnesses, waterfront contracts, private charity galas, and bodies that washed up where the tide was kind. He was the kind of man her mother would turn off the television to avoid hearing about. Her father. No. Lily whispered again, but this time the word had no strength left. Malcolm opened his eyes. I have watched you since you were 5 years old. The SUV seemed to tilt. You watched me to keep you safe. You watched me bury my mother. Pain flickered across his face. Yes, you watched me sell her car to pay funeral bills. Malcolm said nothing. You watched me work double shifts while he was sitting on millions of dollars. Logan looked at her in the mirror. Lily? No. Her voice sharpened. Do not say my name like that. Malcolm breathed through his teeth. Your mother refused his money, so he let us suffer. He honored her choice. Lily looked down at her bloody hands. My mother lied to me my entire life. She protected you. Those can be the same thing. Silence filled the SUV except for Malcolm's ragged breathing and the rush of tires over wet concrete. Then Lily looked at Logan. And you. His eyes met hers in the mirror. The truth was already there. She saw it before he spoke. I work for Travis Kane. She did not know the name, but she understood the shape of it. The men who just tried to take me. Yes. Her breath left her. Were you watching me for them? At first, Logan said nothing. That was worse than yes. Lily's eyes burned. Answer me. I was supposed to. Supposed to what? Get close to you. Learn your routine. Find a way to isolate you. Her hand slipped on Malcolm's wound. He hissed in pain. Lily corrected the pressure automatically even as her face drained of color. The man from the library, the coffee, the gloves, the walks home, his quiet attention, his almost smiles, his careful hands. A weapon pointed at her heart before she even knew there was a war. You used me. Logan's voice came rough. At first. She recoiled as if he had turned and struck her. At first I did not know who you were. But you found out. Yes. And you stayed. Yes. Because they told you to. At first. Stop saying that. The SUV swerved as Logan took a tight turn through the underground road. I was ordered to bring you in tonight. Kane wanted you alive. He wanted to trade you for your father's harbor routes. Lily stared at his reflection. And instead I came to warn you. After lying to me for weeks, yes. After letting me sit across from you and talk about my mother. Logan's jaw clenched. Yes. Was anything real? The question broke something in the car. Even Malcolm opened his eyes. Logan pulled into an abandoned loading bay beneath an office tower and slammed the SUV into park. He turned around. The yellow light cut across his face, showing the bruise, the blood at his lip, the exhaustion in his eyes. It became real. Lily's eyes filled, but no tears fell. That is a coward's answer. I know. Did you care about me, or did you just feel guilty? Both. She hated him for saying it honestly. She hated herself for wanting a different answer. Malcolm shifted in the seat, breathing hard. She needs to reach Whitaker. Lily turned on him. I need a hospital for you. No hospitals, Malcolm said. Not until he secures them. My father owns hospitals too. Malcolm did not answer. Lily laughed once hollow and broken. Of course he does. She looked at the blood on her hands again. The blood of a man who had watched her grow up from the shadows. The blood of a killer who knew her mother's voice. The blood of a life she had never chosen but had apparently always belonged to. Then she opened the door and stepped out into the loading bay. Cold air hit her face. Logan followed but stopped several feet away. Lily, She turned on him. "Do not come closer." He obeyed. That made the hurt worse. Rainwater dripped from a pipe overhead. Somewhere above, traffic moved across the city as if nothing had happened. People were ordering dinner, locking office doors, kissing children goodnight. Her whole world had split open, and Baltimore did not even pause. "My mother told me my father died in a car accident," Lily said. Logan stayed silent. "She taught me how to check locks, how to spot a fever, how to stretch $20 across a week. She taught me that people with power always take more than they give." Her voice shook. "And the whole time, she was hiding me from one of them. She was trying to give you a normal life." Lily's eyes flashed. "Normal, I had men watching me from cars. I had sealed records. I had a father who could buy judges but could not knock on a door. That is not normal. That is a cage with better wallpaper." Logan absorbed every word. He deserved worse. She looked toward the SUV. Malcolm's head had sagged back against the seat. "He is going to die if we stand here." "No," Logan said. "Whitaker has doctors, real ones, quiet ones. Then take him. And you?" Lily wrapped her arms around herself. For one wild second, she thought about running. She could disappear into the streets, find a police station, tell someone everything. But Detective Ellis's face flashed in Logan's story before she even knew the man. Dirty cops, bought records, sealed lives. Who would she run to? The father who abandoned her, the man who betrayed her, the dead mother who had loved her enough to lie? Lily closed her eyes. When she opened them, something in her had changed. Not healed, not hardened completely, but focused. She walked back to the SUV and climbed into the rear seat beside Malcolm. Logan watched her through the open door. "Where are we going?" he asked. Lily picked up her mother's watch from the blood-stained floor mat and held it tight in her palm. Her voice was low when she answered. "You said you know Kane's routes." "Yes." "You know his men." "Yes." "You know how he thinks." Logan's eyes narrowed slightly. "Better than I want to." "Good." Malcolm opened his eyes, watching her with something like recognition. Lily looked at Logan. "Take me to my father." The words stayed in the SUV long after Lily said them. Logan did not answer at first. He stood outside the open door of the armored vehicle, rain sliding from his hair, his face pale beneath the bruise on his cheek. Behind him, the abandoned loading bay hummed with old pipes and distant traffic. The city above them kept moving, unaware that Lily Reed had just spoken a sentence her mother had spent 21 years trying to prevent. Malcolm Price shifted in the back seat, one hand pressed weakly over Lily's blood-soaked scarf. "She needs to see him," he said. Logan looked at him. "You might bleed out before we make Roland Park. Then drive faster." Lily leaned closer to Malcolm and checked the wound again. The bleeding had slowed, but not enough. His skin had gone waxy. His breathing had a wet edge that frightened her more than the blood. "You need a hospital," she said. Malcolm's eyes flickered toward her. "With respect, Miss Reed, hospitals are where men like Travis Kane look first. My name is Lily." "Yes," he whispered. "It is." Something about the way he said it made her chest tighten, like her name was not just a name to him, like it was a promise he had carried for so long it had become part of his bones. Logan climbed into the driver's seat and pulled the door shut. "Seatbelt," he said. Lily stared at the back of his head. "Do not give me orders." His hands paused on the wheel. "Please." That one word was quieter, rougher. It found the part of her still human under all the shock. She fastened the belt. The SUV rolled out of the loading bay and into the hidden arteries beneath downtown Baltimore. Yellow tunnel lights flashed over Logan's face in hard intervals. Light shadow, light shadow. Lily watched him in the rearview mirror and hated how familiar he already felt. The line of his jaw, the stillness in his shoulders, the small cut near his mouth. He had lied to her. He had saved her. Both truths sat beside each other, neither willing to move. Malcolm groaned as the vehicle turned too sharply. Lily pressed the scarf harder. "Stay with me," bossy Malcolm rasped. "I learned from nurses. Your mother was worse." Lily looked down at him. You knew her well. His eyes closed for a second, and she thought he might not answer. Then he said, "I knew her brave." The words struck softly but deep. Outside the windows, the city changed. The narrow industrial roads gave way to older neighborhoods, then wider avenues lined with bare winter trees. Roland Park rose out of the rain with quiet money and stone houses set back from the street. Everything looked too calm, too polished. As if violence never came here, only signed papers and shook hands in private rooms. Then the SUV reached the gate. Two black iron panels stood between brick pillars watched by cameras tucked beneath decorative lamps. Logan slowed. Before he could speak, the gatehouse door opened and 3 armed men stepped out with rifles held low but ready. One of them recognized the SUV. Then he saw Logan. All 3 rifles lifted. "Hands on the wheel," Lily said under her breath. Logan obeyed without looking back. A guard approached the driver's side, weapon aimed through the glass. "Window down." Logan lowered it. The guard's expression hardened. "Logan Pierce." "Malcolm's hit," Logan said. "Lily is in the back." The guard's eyes snapped toward her. For half a second his face lost all discipline. Then he touched his earpiece. "She's here." The gates opened. The estate beyond them did not look like a home. It looked like a fortress that had learned manners. Tall oaks lined the drive, their branches black against the rain. Security lights glowed along the walls. Men moved in the shadows, too many to count, too calm to be servants. The SUV stopped beneath a covered entrance. The doors opened before Logan cut the engine. Men pulled Malcolm out gently but quickly. A woman in a dark coat appeared with a medical bag. She gave Lily one look and said, "You kept pressure." "Yes." "Good." Malcolm caught Lily's wrist before they carried him away. "Do not let them speak around you like you are not in the room." Then he was gone. Lily stood beside the SUV with blood on her hands, rain in her hair, and her mother's broken watch clenched in one fist. 4 men surrounded Logan. One took his gun. Another pressed a pistol to the back of his head. Lily looked over. "Stop." No one moved. She had not spoken loudly. She had not needed to. The closest guard glanced toward the front doors, uncertain. Lily raised her chin. "He comes with me." The man holding the pistol gave a humorless laugh. "That is not your call." The front door opened. A tall man stepped into the light. The rain seemed to quiet around him. Raymond Whitaker was older than Lily expected and more human than the newspapers made him seem. Silver touched his dark hair at the temples. His suit was black, perfectly cut, not flashy. His face carried the calm authority of a man who had never needed to raise his voice twice. But when he saw Lily, that calm broke. It did not shatter dramatically. It simply left him. His eyes moved over her face with an ache so naked that Lily almost looked away. Almost. "Lily," he said. Her name in his mouth sounded like something he had practiced alone. She stepped toward him, leaving bloody footprints on the pale stone. "Do not say it like you know me." Raymond stopped at the top of the steps. Around them, armed men went still. Lily held up her red hands. "This is Malcolm's blood. Your man, the one who watched me for years while I thought I was alone." Raymond's jaw tightened. "Where is he?" "With your doctor," one guard said. Raymond nodded once, but his eyes never left Lily. "You are hurt." She laughed softly. That laugh had no warmth in it. "That is what you ask first. It is the only question I can survive asking first." She hated the answer because it sounded true. Logan stood behind her silent under the aim of 2 guns. Raymond finally looked at him. The grief in his face hardened into something lethal. "And this is Kane's dog." Lily stepped between them before anyone could move. "He saved my life. He was sent to take it apart." "I know." Raymond's gaze returned to her. For the first time, she saw the calculation behind the pain. He was not only a father. He was a man measuring danger, leverage, weakness, opportunity. He was everything her mother had feared. Inside, he said. The study smelled like leather-old paper wood smoke and expensive whiskey. Rain slid down tall windows behind a massive desk. Books lined the walls, though Lily wondered how many had actually been read and how many had been chosen to make power look educated. A fire burned low in the hearth. Lily stood in the middle of the room, refusing the chair Raymond offered. Logan remained near the door with 2 guards at his sides. His wrists had not been tied, but everyone in the room understood that was politeness, not trust. Raymond poured a glass of water and set it on the desk. "For your hands," he said. Lily looked down. Blood had dried in the lines of her palms. She did not move. Raymond took a folded white cloth from the bar and held it out. She did not take that either. "My mother told me you died before I was born." Raymond's hand lowered slowly. "She wanted you safe. That is the sentence everyone keeps hiding behind. It is still true. Truth can be cowardly when it arrives 21 years late." A flicker moved across his face. Pain, maybe. Good. She wanted it to hurt him. She wanted him to feel even 1 inch of the confusion burning through her chest. "Did you know we were poor?" she asked. "Yes." "Did you know the heat went out in our apartment every winter?" "Yes." "Did you know I sold her car to pay for her funeral?" Raymond looked away. That was the first answer that felt honest. Lily's throat tightened. "You knew. I offered help, many times. To her." "Yes. And when she said no, you let her drown." His voice dropped. "I respected her wishes. My mother is dead. Do not make her the shield you hide behind." The room went silent. One of the guards shifted. Raymond did not. For a long moment, the only sound was the rain against the glass. Then he said, "Your mother saved my life when I was not worth saving." Lily's breath caught despite herself. Raymond walked to the window, not turning his back completely. A man like him probably never did. "I was shot outside Mercy General. 3 rounds, 1 in the lung, 1 through the side, 1 close enough to the heart that the doctors later called it luck." His mouth tightened. It was not luck. It was Maggie Reed. She put her hands inside the damage and told me if I died on her table, she would never forgive me. Lily saw her mother then. Younger, fierce, blue scrubs, hair pinned back, refusing death like it was an unreasonable man blocking a hallway. Raymond continued. She did not care who I was, or she pretended not to. That was the first thing I loved about her. "Do not." He turned. "Do not what?" "Make it beautiful." His expression softened. It was beautiful. And then she learned what my life really was. Lily looked toward the fire. "She left. She did more than leave. She made me swear that you would never sit at one of my tables, never ride in one of my cars, never have men lower their voices when you entered a room. She wanted you to choose your own name before mine swallowed it." Lily's fingers tightened around the broken watch. "She lied every day. She loved you every day." The words struck hard because Lily could not deny them. Her mother had loved her in every ordinary way. Soup when she was sick. Notes in lunch bags, a hand on her forehead. 3 locks checked every night. A body always placed between Lily and the world. But love had not stopped the lies. Raymond's eyes fell to the watch in Lily's hand. I gave that to her. Lily looked down. The cracked gold face, the worn leather band, the tiny engraved M on the back she had always thought stood only for Maggie. Her stomach twisted. She told me she bought it with her first paycheck. I told her to say that if anyone asked. Lily closed her eyes. Even the small things had trap doors. A knock came at the door. A woman stepped in, the same doctor who had taken Malcolm. He is stable for now. The round missed the artery. He lost blood, but he will live. Lily exhaled before she could stop herself. Raymond nodded. Thank you, Dr. Voss. The doctor left. Relief moved through the room, brief and quickly buried. Then an older man in a charcoal suit entered without knocking. He had narrow eyes and a face shaped by suspicion. Raymond, we need to talk about the Kane problem. Raymond's eyes did not leave Lily. Talk. The man glanced at her, then at Logan. In front of them, Lily turned to him. Them. The man gave a tight smile. You have had a long night, Miss Reed. Yes, Lily said, and it appears to still be going. Raymond almost smiled. Almost. The man did not. I am Arthur Bell. I handle certain operational matters for your father. You mean you help him break laws in a suit? Arthur's expression froze. Logan looked down, briefly, hiding something that might have been amusement. Raymond said nothing, which told Lily enough. Arthur placed a folder on the desk. Travis Kane moved early. That means he is either desperate or better informed than we thought. Malcolm's detail was compromised. The girl needs to be moved tonight. Private airstrip, new identity. Somewhere quiet until we burn Kane's people out. The girl is standing here, Lily said. Arthur ignored her and looked at Raymond. She is a liability. Raymond's voice cooled. Choose your next word carefully. Arthur bowed his head slightly, but he was not finished. With respect, boss, she is not trained. She is emotional. She has already forced us to bring a Kane associate into your home. Logan's eyes sharpened. Lily stepped closer to Arthur. You think I am the liability? I think you are the target. No. I am the reason Kane crawled out from behind his walls. Arthur blinked. Lily felt something steady gather inside her. The same calm that came during clinic emergencies when a patient started crashing and everyone looked for someone else to move first. She moved first. Kane thought I was helpless because nobody told me the rules. He sent men into a public place because he believed fear would do the work for him. That makes him reckless. Raymond watched her. Arthur's expression shifted slightly despite himself. Lily continued. He wants leverage over my father. He wants the harbor routes. And now he thinks Logan either failed or might still be useful. Logan looked at her, but she kept her eyes on Arthur. Am I wrong? Arthur said nothing. Raymond answered. No. Lily turned to Logan. Where does Kane feel safest? The guard stiffened, but Raymond lifted one hand. Let him speak. Logan stepped away from the wall. He uses the cold storage warehouse as a front. South Baltimore. Everyone knows it, which is why he wants them looking there. But he does not sleep there. He moves between a private suite above a hotel near the harbor and a garage under the old customs building. He travels light when he is cautious, heavy when he is greedy. Lily absorbed that. And tonight Logan's voice lowered. Tonight he thinks he can still get you. Raymond's face hardened. No. Lily looked at him. You do not know what I am going to say. I know enough. You know how to keep me hidden. That stopped working. I am not using you as bait. Lily's laugh was quiet and brutal. You used my whole life as a hiding place. The sentence hit him visibly. She stepped closer to the desk. Kane wants me alive. He wants to trade me for your harbor routes. So we give him a story he wants badly enough to believe. Arthur's eyes narrowed. What story? Lily looked at Logan. He calls Kane and says he has me. Says Malcolm is down, your men are searching the city, and he needs extraction before I slip away or before you find us. Logan's jaw tightened. Kane will suspect a trap. Will he? Lily looked at Arthur. You said he moved early. Desperate men do not distrust gifts. They grab them. Raymond stared at her as if seeing two people at once. Maggie's daughter. His blood. No, he said again, but this time the word had less ground beneath it. Lily's voice softened, which made it more dangerous. If you send me away, Kane keeps hunting. If you hide me, people keep dying around the secret. If you kill him blindly, someone replaces him by morning. But if he walks into his own hunger, if he brings the men closest to him, if the dirty cop network exposes itself trying to protect him, you do not just win a gunfight. You cut out the rot. Arthur looked at Raymond. She is not wrong. Raymond's eyes flashed. She is my daughter. Lily felt the room change when he said it. My daughter. Not the girl. Not Maggie's child. Mine. The word should have warmed something in her. Instead, it pressed on a bruise she had not had time to name. She leaned both hands on his desk. Then stop protecting the version of me you imagined. She does not exist anymore. Raymond looked at the blood still dried beneath her fingernails. For the first time since she entered the house, he looked afraid. Not of Kane. Of her. Or for her. Maybe both. The planning took place in the dining room because the table was larger. A map of Baltimore Harbor was spread across polished wood that had probably hosted senators, judges, and men who smiled before ordering funerals. Arthur Bell marked streets with a black pen. Logan identified Kane's routes. Raymond's men listened with hard focus. Lily stood over the map, still in her wet clothes, refusing every offer to sit down. Logan pointed to a narrow service road near Pier 9. Kane will not come through the main entrance if he thinks Whitaker's people are moving. He will cut through here. 2 blocks industrial lighting, no residential windows. He will like the control. Arthur nodded. We can block both ends. Kane uses lead and rear vehicles, Logan said. If he comes himself, he will be in the second SUV. He likes to see someone else die first. Lily looked at him. You sound like you hate him. I learned from him. That is not the same thing. No, Logan said. It is not. Raymond noticed the exchange. His gaze sharpened, but he said nothing. Arthur drew another mark. We stage the town car here. Pierce makes the call. He says he has her restrained. Kane rolls in. We close the street. Roof teams here and here. No shooting near me unless necessary, Lily said. Arthur paused. Raymond looked up. Excuse me? Lily kept her eyes on the map. If Kane dies immediately, his people scatter and his bought officials bury everything. I want names. Detective Ellis, judges, councilmen, anyone who touched my records, anyone who sold my mother's life. The room was very quiet. Arthur looked impressed, despite himself. Raymond looked pained. You are thinking like one of us, he said. Lily finally looked at him. No. I am thinking like someone tired of being the last to know. Near midnight, Dr. Voss returned with clean clothes for Lily. Black pants, a dark sweater, a long coat with armor sewn inside. Lily changed in a guest room larger than her whole apartment. For a moment, she stood before the mirror and did not recognize the woman looking back. Her hair was damp around her face. Her eyes looked too awake. The coat fit perfectly. That bothered her. Someone had guessed her size. Someone had known enough. On the dresser, her mother's watch sat beside a basin where she had washed Malcolm's blood from her hands. The water had turned pink, then red, then clear. The hands still did not feel clean. A soft knock sounded. Come in. Logan opened the door but stayed in the hall. I wanted to check on you. Then look, I am checked. He deserved that. He nodded once and started to leave. Wait. He stopped. Lily picked up the watch. My father gave this to my mother. Logan said nothing. She lied about that too. Maybe she wanted one thing from him to feel like hers. Lily looked at him sharply. She hated how well he could cut through anger when he chose the truth. You do not get to defend her. I know. Or him. I know. Or yourself. His voice dropped. I was not going to. That took some of the force out of her. She walked to the doorway, leaving a careful distance between them. Why did Kane find you after the Marines? Logan leaned one shoulder against the hall wall. Because men like him can smell when someone comes home from war with nowhere to put the war. Lily listened. My father was dead. My mother was gone before that. I had no house, no plan, and a head full of noise. Kane gave me work, then debt, then threats dressed up as loyalty. Did you hurt people for him? Yes. The answer was immediate. No excuses. Lily looked down. Did you kill people? Logan's eyes did not leave her face. Yes. The hallway seemed colder. Why tell me the truth now? Because lies are what got us here. She looked at him for a long time. I do not forgive you. I know. I do not trust you. I know. But tonight, I need you to hate Kane more than you fear him. A shadow moved across Logan's face. That will not be hard. They returned to the dining room just as Arthur placed a burner phone on the map. Raymond stood at the head of the table. He looked at Lily in the armored coat, and something in his expression strained against command. You can still leave, he said. Lily picked up the burner and handed it to Logan. No, she said. I cannot. Logan took the phone. Their fingers touched for half a second. Neither pulled away first. Raymond saw that too. A storm gathered behind his eyes, but he buried it beneath business. Make the call. Logan dialed. The room held its breath. Travis Kane answered on the fourth ring. His voice came through sharp and pleased. Pierce, you better have a reason to still be alive. Logan looked at Lily. She held his gaze. Then he spoke with just enough fear to sound believable. I have her. Logan said the words into the burner phone, and the room changed around them. Every man at the table went still. Arthur Bell stopped marking the map. Raymond Whitaker stood at the head of the dining room with both hands resting flat against the polished wood, his eyes fixed on Logan like he could pull the truth from his throat by force. Lily stood beside the window in the armored coat rain sliding down the glass behind her. She could see her reflection faintly. Pale face, dark eyes. Her mother's watch fastened around her wrist with a temporary black strap Dr. Voss had found in a drawer. She looked like herself and not herself at all. On the phone, Travis Kane went quiet. Then he laughed. Do you? Logan kept his voice tight, breathless, just unstable enough. She is in the car. Malcolm Price is down. Whitaker's people are all over the harbor. I need extraction now. Kane said nothing. Lily watched Logan's face as he lied. He was good at it. Too good. That hurt more than she wanted it to. His eyes, though, stayed on her. Not the map. Not Raymond. Her. Kane finally spoke. Let me hear her. Raymond straightened. Arthur shook his head once. Logan did not move. Lily stepped forward and took the phone from his hand. Raymond's voice cut through the room. Lily. She ignored him. She brought the phone to her ear. For a heartbeat, she heard only Kane breathing. Then his voice came smooth and pleased. Miss Reed. Lily looked at the map, at the marked streets near Pier 9, at the black lines that had turned Baltimore into a board where men moved pieces and called it fate. My name is Lily, she said. Kane laughed softly. You sound calmer than I expected. I have had a long night. You have no idea. She let a tremor enter her voice, not too much, just enough. Logan says you can get me away from my father. Across the table, Raymond's face hardened at the word father. Kane heard what he wanted to hear. That is right. You stay quiet, do as you are told, and you might live to hate him properly. Lily closed her eyes for 1 second. The old Lily would have flinched. The new one listened. What do you want from me? Nothing that belongs to you, sweetheart. The word made Logan's hand tighten into a fist. Lily opened her eyes. Then, come get what you think is yours. She handed the phone back to Logan. Logan pressed it to his ear. She is scared. She is angry. She wants Whitaker punished. You can use that. Kane breathed a smile into the line. We're Service Road near Pier 9, 2 blocks east of the cold storage exit. I am in a black town car. She is in the back. I cannot hold long. You armed enough? You alone? Yes. Kane paused again. Lily could almost see greed moving through him, heavy and bright. Keep her breathing, he said. If this is a trick, Pierce, I will peel your life apart one person at a time. Logan's voice went flat. You already tried. The line went dead. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Arthur took the phone and removed the battery. Raymond looked at Lily. You should not have spoken to him. He needed to believe I was frightened. You were. She met his eyes. Yes. That answer stopped him. Lily was tired of pretending fear meant weakness. She had been terrified in the library when she saw Logan's hand move beneath the table. Terrified at the harbor when glass exploded around her. Terrified in the SUV when Malcolm said her father's name. Fear had been with her all night, walking, close breathing against her neck. But fear had not stopped her hands from pressing against Malcolm's wound. It had not stopped her from coming here. It would not stop her now. Arthur folded the map. We move in 6 minutes. The estate erupted into quiet motion. Men left through side doors. Engines started somewhere beyond the windows. Radios whispered. Weapons were checked with small metallic clicks. Nobody shouted. Nobody wasted movement. This was not panic. This was machinery. Lily watched the machine and understood something that made her stomach turn. Her father had not survived because he was loud. He had survived because he built silence around violence. Logan came to stand near her. You did well. She looked at him. Do not make it sound like a school presentation. I meant it. I know. That was the problem. She knew when he meant things now. She knew the slight roughness in his voice when he stopped hiding. She knew the way his eyes softened before the rest of him allowed it. She knew enough to be wounded by him in places no stranger could reach. Raymond approached before either of them could say more. Pierce. Logan turned. Raymond held out a compact pistol grip first. The room noticed. So did Logan. You are trusting me with a weapon in your house. No, Raymond said. I am trusting my daughter's judgment. Do not make that the second mistake I punish you for. Logan took the pistol. I will keep her alive. Raymond stepped closer. If she dies, so do you. Lily moved between them. If I die, I will be too busy being dead to appreciate the gesture. Arthur, standing by the door, looked down as if hiding a smile. Raymond did not smile, but the fury in him bent slightly beneath something else. Lily turned to him. I need you to understand something before we leave. His eyes searched her face. Say it. I am not doing this for your harbor roots. I know. I am not doing it to become part of your world. Raymond said nothing. I am doing it because Kane dragged my mother's name into this, because someone sold my records, because men sat in rooms and decided my life could be traded. That ends tonight. Raymond looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. Yes, he said. It does. The town car waited beneath a broken street lamp near Pier 9. Rain came down harder now, turning the industrial road into a black mirror. Warehouses rose on both sides, their windows dark, their brick walls slick with water. The harbor was close enough for Lily to smell salt diesel and rust. Somewhere beyond the cranes, a ship horn groaned through the night. Lily sat in the back seat. No restraints, no blindfold, no performance except the one inside her own pulse. Logan sat in the front passenger seat with the pistol beneath his coat and a rifle tucked low by his leg. The driver was one of Raymond's men, silent and square-shouldered. 2 blocks away, unseen, Raymond's crews waited on rooftops behind loading doors inside parked utility trucks. Arthur was in a command vehicle with radio contact. Raymond himself was nearby, which Lily had argued against and lost. Apparently, fathers and kingpins shared one flaw. They did not stay away from danger when blood was involved. Lily looked through the tinted window. "You ever think about leaving Baltimore?" she asked. Logan glanced back. "All the time. Where would you go?" "I never got that far." "That is not leaving. That is running." He accepted that. "What about you? Before tonight?" "Yes." She watched rain crawl down the glass. "I used to think about Maine." Maine. My mother had a postcard from Bar Harbor taped inside a kitchen cabinet. She said she wanted to see it one day. Little white boats, cold water, quiet mornings. Logan's voice softened. Why didn't she go life? That small word held bills, shifts, sickness, secrets, and the 1,000 ordinary chains nobody sees from the outside. Logan turned slightly. She should have seen it. Lily looked at him. Yes, she should have. The radio crackled once. Arthur's voice came through. "Convoy is moving." The driver sat straighter. Logan checked the street. Lily's heartbeat became a drum. Minutes stretched. Then headlights appeared at the far end of the road. 1 SUV, then another, then 2 more. Black vehicles rolling through rain like sharks beneath dark water. Logan looked back at Lily. "Stay low when it starts." "I know." "Lily." "I know." He held her gaze for one breath longer. "I am sorry." The words were quiet, not dramatic, not polished. Just there. Lily wanted to say something sharp. Instead, she said, "Live long enough to be sorry properly." The first SUV passed the loading entrance. The second slowed. Travis Kane was inside. Lily could not see him through the tinted glass, but she felt him. Felt the weight of the man who had looked at her life and seen not a woman, not a daughter, not a person, but a key to a locked door. The lead SUV stopped. So did the others. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then the street closed. A delivery truck pulled out from a side alley and blocked the front of the convoy. Behind them, a utility truck reversed hard across the road, sealing the rear. Floodlights snapped on from warehouse roofs, white and sudden turning rain into falling glass. Kane's men reacted fast, but not fast enough. Doors flew open. Guns came up. Raymond's men opened fire from above with controlled bursts that punched sparks from metal and shattered windows. The street filled with sound. Gunfire, screaming tires, men shouting into rain, the heavy thud of bullets striking doors. Logan kicked open the passenger door and fired toward the third SUV, pinning 2 men behind the engine block before they could flank the town car. The driver grabbed Lily and pushed her down across the back seat as rounds struck the side of the car. "Stay down," he ordered. Lily clenched her teeth and stayed down, not because she obeyed him, because she wanted to live. Glass cracked above her. The smell of gunpowder flooded the car. Her ears rang, but through the chaos she heard Logan outside, calm and sharp. Left side, second door, moving. More gunfire. Then Arthur over the radio. Kane is in the second vehicle, alive, attempting to exit. Lily lifted her head just enough to see. Travis Kane staggered from the second SUV with blood on his temple and rage in every line of his body. He was taller than she expected, well-dressed, furious. Two of his men tried to shield him as they moved toward cover behind the wrecked lead vehicle. Raymond appeared from the left side of the street with 4 men around him. Even in gunfire, he walked like the city belonged to him. Kane saw him and laughed. It was not a sane sound. "Raymond," he shouted through the rain. "You brought an army for one little girl." Raymond's voice carried cold across the street. "You brought one for her first." Kane raised his gun. Logan fired before Kane could aim properly. The shot struck Kane's wrist and the weapon skidded across the wet pavement. Kane dropped behind the SUV, cursing. For a moment the shooting thinned. Kane's men were down, disarmed, or pinned. Raymond's crews moved in from both ends of the road. Arthur's voice crackled. "Hold fire! Hold fire!" The street exhaled smoke. Lily opened the car door. The driver grabbed for her arm. "Miss Reed, no!" She pulled free. Rain struck her face as she stepped into the street. Logan turned and saw her. "Lily, get back in the car." She did not. Kane was on his knees beside the SUV, one hand pressed to his bleeding wrist. 2 rifles were aimed at his chest. Raymond stood a few feet away, expression carved from stone. Lily walked toward them. Every man on the street seemed to notice at once. The gunfire had stopped, but the violence had not left. It hung in the rain waiting for permission. Kane looked up at her and smiled through blood. "There she is." Lily stopped in front of him. "The helpless daughter." His smile widened. "You learn fast." "No." "I listened while men thought I was too scared to understand them." Raymond moved closer. "Step back, Lily." She kept her eyes on Kane. "You bought my records." Kane spat blood onto the pavement. "I bought a lot of things. Detective Ellis. He was cheaper than he should have been." "Who else?" Kane laughed. Raymond lifted his pistol. "I can ask him differently." Lily turned her head. "No." Raymond froze. The word was not loud, but it cut through the street. Kane looked between them, amused even now. "You hear that, Raymond? Your little girl thinks this is a courtroom." Lily looked back at Kane. "No, I think courtrooms are another place men like you buy furniture." His smile faded. She crouched slightly close enough that he had to look at her. "You wanted to use me to make my father surrender the harbor. You thought I was soft because I did not know your world. Here is what you did not understand. I know frightened people. I have held their hands in clinics, in emergency rooms, in hallways where nobody powerful ever comes. Frightened people talk when they believe someone is finally listening." Kane's breathing grew heavier. Lily's voice dropped. "So, talk." Kane stared at her. Behind him, one of Raymond's men dragged Detective Wade Ellis from the rear SUV. His face was bruised, his suit soaked his hands, zip-tied in front of him. Lily looked at the detective, the man who had sold her mother's secret, the man who had turned her birth into a weapon. Ellis would not meet her eyes. Arthur stepped forward with a phone already recording. "Names," Arthur said. Kane looked at Raymond. Raymond looked at Lily. Lily did not blink. By dawn, Travis Kane had given them enough to burn half his protection network to ash. Not out of remorse. Men like Kane did not discover remorse in the rain. He talked because Raymond's world knew pressure. Arthur knew documents, and Lily knew where to press on a wound without letting the patient die. Councilmen, harbor inspectors, judges, police captains, a clerk who had accessed Lily's sealed file, an attorney who had helped bury Maggie Reed's connection to Raymond years ago, then sold whispers when money got tight. The official story began before sunrise. A violent dispute among criminal associates near South Baltimore. Multiple arrests. Ongoing investigation. No threat to the public. The news would say that because powerful men needed the public calm. Lily knew better now. The public had never been safe. Only uninformed. Later that morning, she returned to her apartment with Logan waiting in the hallway and two of Raymond's men downstairs. Her door still stuck in the frame. The radiator still clicked uselessly. Her mother's blue mug still sat beside the sink. For the first time all night, Lily broke. Not loudly. She sank onto the edge of the bed, pressed her hands over her face, and let the sob move through her like something torn loose. Logan stayed by the door. He did not come closer. He did not try to touch her grief and make himself useful. After a while, Lily opened the old sewing box beneath her mother's bed. Inside were buttons, thread-folded receipts, a photograph Lily had never seen, and a sealed envelope with her name written in Maggie's hand. She opened it with shaking fingers. My sweet Lily, if you are reading this, then the truth has found you despite everything I did to outrun it. Your father is not a good man, but he loved us in the only way he understood. That is not a defense. It is a warning. Love without light can become another kind of prison. I kept you from him because I wanted your hands to heal, not harm. But blood is not a sentence. It is only a beginning someone else wrote for you. Choose the rest yourself. Lily held the letter against her chest. Outside the window, Baltimore brightened under a pale morning sky. 2 weeks later, Raymond Whitaker called a meeting above a restored restaurant overlooking the harbor. The room was private with dark wood walls, tall windows, and a long table surrounded by men who had spent their lives being obeyed. Arthur Bell sat to Raymond's left. Malcolm Price, pale but alive, stood near the door with one arm in a sling. Logan stood at the back wall. Lily entered wearing a black suit that fit like a decision. The conversation stopped. Raymond rose. Every man in the room followed a second later, some slower than others. Lily noticed. She noticed everything now. Raymond pulled out the chair at his right hand. For a moment, Lily saw another room, another table, a crowded library. A tired girl asking a dangerous stranger for a seat because every other chair was taken. Logan's voice came from behind her, low enough that only she heard. Can I sit with you? Lily turned. His expression was careful, but his eyes were not hiding. Something in her softened, without surrendering. Not yet, she said. His mouth curved faintly. Fair. She sat at Raymond's right hand. The men sat after her. Arthur opened a folder. The Kane assets have been divided. Harbor logistics are stable. Ellis is cooperating. The council will move the zoning changes quietly. Lily listened. Then she placed Maggie's letter on the table. No one touched it. My mother spent her life keeping me away from this table, Lily said. So I will not insult her by pretending I am grateful to be here. Raymond watched her from the head of the table. I am not here to make your business prettier. I am not here to smile while men call violence tradition. Hospitals, schools, families, and children are no longer leverage. Anyone who disagrees can say it now. No one spoke. One older man near the end of the table shifted. That is not how things have been done. Lily looked at him. No, she said. That is why I had to say it. The man looked toward Raymond. Raymond did not help him. Lily leaned back slightly. If my name is going to open doors in this city, it will also close some. Malcolm smiled faintly near the door. Arthur made a note. Raymond's eyes held pride and sorrow in equal measure. After the meeting, Lily stepped onto the balcony overlooking the harbor. The water below moved dark and restless beneath the afternoon light. Cranes stood against the sky like steel giants. Somewhere far below, traffic moved, horns sounded, and the city went on, pretending it was ordinary. Logan joined her, keeping a careful distance. You did well in there. She looked out over the water. You keep saying that. I keep meaning it. Lily turned to him. I do not know what we are. No. I do not know if I can forgive you. I know. I do not know if the part of me that trusted you was brave or foolish. Logan looked down. It was kind. That hurt most of all. Lily looked at her mother's watch. The cracked face had been repaired. The old hands moved again. My mother wanted me to choose the rest myself. She was right. Lily held out her hand. Logan looked at it before taking it as if he did not believe he had earned the right. Maybe he had not. Maybe that was not the point of the moment. His fingers closed around hers, warm and steady. Below them, Baltimore shimmered under a sky washed clean by rain. Once Lily Reed had asked a stranger if she could sit with him because she had nowhere else to go. Now the city's most dangerous men had learned the truth. She had not been looking for permission. She had been walking toward the table that was always waiting for her.